What is up, everybody? This is Ty Campbell here in the Tekin Studios. Thank you for joining me today. I'm super excited to bring you guys my next build. It is the Vanquish VS4-10 Origin kit. This is the black edition, so everything has been anodized black instead of the standard clear edition that they released previously. This truck is loaded with features like the aluminum rock slider assemblies that actually pinch and hold on to the body, which is nice, keep it from rattling around and also protect it from damage from rocks. Incision aluminum shocks, front and rear aluminum bumpers, and the steel stamped chassis rails, highly adjustable and also high clearanced for those portal builds. They also really nailed it with a lot of the scale accessories on this truck too, like the included molded pre-cut fender wells that just need some paint, mount up and hide everything up inside, along with the molded radiator assembly and molded grille, Lexan interior with scale molded details, and also light buckets for 10mm headlights and 5mm taillights. And you can also get a lot more custom parts from Night Customs for this truck. So we're going to go ahead and open up the box and look at the presentation of these parts. This was probably my favorite part of opening the box. Everything is all nice and displayed in this laser cut foam. Definitely just screams high quality. Very pleasing to the eye when you open the box. And this is most of the billet parts included in the build, like your axle housings, transmission housing, slider sides, the knuckles, motor mount plate, the front and rear bumpers, and the stamped chassis rails. Continuing on, we've got our instruction manual and the Origin clear Lexan body. This is nice, it's all pre-drilled and pre-cut, so all you got to do is mask and paint. And Vanquish also dipped into the tire market with this build with the VXT tires. These are 4.65 inch tall tires. It is their own proprietary compound. Got our interior parts bag, and these are the molded fender wells, so we'll go ahead and paint those up and mount those up later. I'm super excited about this build. This truck is extremely capable, very well built. My good friends over at Vanquish sent this over so that we could do some build video series for you guys, just going through some things on the truck and then also installing our Tekin RX4 Rock 412 system and also a Tekin servo. Right now I'm really itching to crack these bags open and get building, so let's get started. So we got the first step of our build done, which was the axles. Now these are probably some of the coolest axles I have ever had the pleasure of assembling. I just love how Vanquish went with an offset pumpkin on the front axle. They included VDI universals, so you get good steering angle with very minimal binding. We've got a solid one-piece axle housings with integrated C-hubs, removable front diff cover, which is nice for being able to get in there and maybe just refresh some grease. They included the Incision drive shafts, one of their newer products. All the shock mounts are double shear, steering links and stuff are double shear mounted, so that's really nice. All in all, very solid looking axles. So let's continue on with the next step. Alright, so we're to the servo install portion of our build, and we're going to install this. This is a T360 servo, 382 ounces of torque at 7.4 volts, so pretty decent for a scaler. That should be plenty of torque. I prefer the 360 over the 440 just because of the little bit quicker transit speed, but it's totally up to you on what you prefer. In this step, Vanquish did step in and include the new aluminum chassis braces front and rear. In the front is your chassis brace, bumper brace, and also your winch servo and steering servo mount. So this is just to stiffen up the truck and prevent any sort of weird frame twisting or bending or anything like that. So kudos to Vanquish for including these new parts and beefing up the VS4-10 even more than it already is. So now we're going to install our T360 steering servo into the Vanquish servo mount / chassis brace. Pretty straightforward. Pretty much you just want to put the spline to the front of the truck, which is going to be towards this piece down towards the front bumper. And then you're going to want to use these big flat top screws to mount her up. Use a little dab of Loctite on each screw, and that's all you got to do. So that's pretty much the basic frame assembled right there with the servo mounted. I don't have the body posts in yet. We're going to go ahead and do that later, but now let's build us a transmission. Assembled 3-gear transmission that comes with our VS4-10 kit. Very nice piece, has basically every upgrade you'd already want to do. Aluminum transmission case halves, aluminum motor plate, aluminum spur gear guard. Internally there are full ball bearings and steel hardened gears. There's also a 32 pitch plastic spur gear attached to a slipper eliminator kit, so this thing is full locked. Let's go ahead and get our Rock 412 mated up to this, and then we'll go ahead and throw this in the chassis. This is the Tekin Rock 412 540 can motor that I'm going to put in our VS4-10 build. I went with a 2300 kV because I'm going to run her on 4-cell. Geared down, that should give me pretty good wheel speed and really good low throttle resolution. So we've got our motor, and there's a sensor wire clip on the back of the motor. I'll show you how to use that here in a little bit. We've got a tube of dielectric grease for sealing up your sensor ports, and then a 200mm shielded sensor wire. Alright, on the back of our motor we're going to take a 1.5mm wrench, take this top screw out that has the sensor wire clip in it. Now we're going to take our grease and we're going to go ahead and fill that sensor port up, and this will help protect from any water, shorten the system out. But if it does happen, it'll just kick the centerless. You might notice a little bit of roughness on the bottom end if you do get it wet. It will dry out if you let it. Sometimes it'll dry out while you're still running. Go ahead and plug this in. And just wipe up any excess that comes out of the plug. Now we're going to take our sensor clip, spread that open. You want to go ahead and grab all these wires, get those inside there. Go ahead and put the screw back through. Take our 1.5mm wrench. And there we go. Sensor wire is nice and secure. Now to mount the motor in the transmission, you just need to find these nice little collar washers and two M3 by 8mm motor screws. Go ahead and put this guy in here, and you can rotate this any way you want just to have the tabs in whatever position you desire. Put these in loose just so when you go to put your pinion gear on, you can set the mesh and move the motor around a little bit easier. Now we're going to take our pinion. Vanquish includes a 13 tooth. Just put a little Put a Loctite on the set screw so it doesn't come loose later. We'll just need to rotate our motor shaft so where we can get to the flat spot. So right there. Go ahead and slide the pinion on, and then you want to line it up so that it's in line with the spur gear. Center as you can. And then tighten that grub screw down just to hold it on. And then setting the mesh, a lot of people use a piece of paper. If you want, you can just get in here. You want to be able to rock the spur gear back just a tiny bit. You don't want it too tight, otherwise it'll squeal. It sound kind of nasty. Too loose, it can also sound nasty, and then you risk stripping out the spur gear. So just snug the motor screws down, and then I like to rotate this about 90 degrees and check it in 4 different spots, just because spur gears are never perfectly round. Just make sure that you get a nice little bit of play. That looks pretty good. So let's mount this in the truck. So that's it. Transmission with the motor attached, spur gear meshed to the pinion is mounted up in the VS4-10. And I think this is a good place to pause in our build. So that's going to do it for part number 1 of our VS4-10 Origin build. Next week we are going to continue with assembling these shocks. We're going to put the links together, get all that stuff on the truck so that we have a slider. We're going to assemble the rock sliders. We're going to put the body posts in, front and rear bumpers, and then we're going to dive into getting some electronics installed and tuned. After that, we will finish up with bodywork, scale accessories, wheels, and tires, and then hopefully get it outside on the rocks and see what she can do. So be sure and like, share, and subscribe. I'm Ty Campbell, and I'll see you next time.